Well, today we're sitting here at ASPO meeting, and all day I've been through a lot of interviews, scientists, politicians, but it's also very refreshing to talk to somebody else. I'm talking to Kris. Kris, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bruce.
Now, Kris, I'm used to interviewing technical people and politicians, and kind of take a very static approach. You're an artist.
Yep.
I met you here at ASPO. How did you become an advocate of peak oil? And when did you really come to grasp the peak oil? When was it? And how did you come out to understand it and so forth, become a believer, if you will?
Right, well, it took a long time, actually. It wasn't overnight. And I think the first indication that something was amiss was on September 11th. And as I stood and watched the towers come down, I started to wonder the bigger story behind what was going on. And that's not the first time that I had wondered about the bigger implications of how we were living our lifestyles. It's a thread that I've pursued my entire life, from a young actor doing political theater to creating art that kind of showed people what we put into our waste stream, and I continued doing kind of political things. I went into graduate school because I wanted to learn how to create architecture that was not going to be using fossil fuels, and then I went into urban planning because I wanted to kind of redesign our communities so that they could be more localized. In the meantime, around 2006, 2007, I started to feel pretty itchy. I was living in New York City, and I felt kind of helpless because I thought, if there was a food shortage or there was another natural disaster or another event like September 11th, would I be okay? Would my friends be okay? And that is when I decided to leave the city. And once I left the city, I moved to a more natural location, if you will. And I started to get involved with people who were more environmentally oriented. And I also situated myself in places where they were growing food nearby. So I felt more connected to the land for the first time in my life because I had grown up in cities. And so I suddenly started to look deeper into, the way we were living our lifestyles. Once I found the thread to peak oil, I was very disturbed, but I was also perturbed that the message was being brought forth by a lot of white old guys in suits. And I totally respect them. They are great thinkers, researchers, social critics, writers. I've read their books, I've listened to them, and I agree with them. But unfortunately, people like me, younger, a little bit older, who maybe don't buy into, the guys in suits, they're not listening.
Right.
A lot of people aren't listening. So I wanted to create a show where young people, a little more hip people, would be turned on to this message.
Yes.
So on my show, I do a mixture of interviewing people in the field of peak oil who have written books, who have been researchers. I talk to them, and I usually begin it and end it on a positive note. Because I found that the message is so daunting, is so doom and gloom, that it's just going to turn people off. It's so untasteful.
It is, as you said, it's refreshing because I met you here at the event, and most people are just like you described, in suit, although some have black hair, some have white hair, but oftentimes not very many people are doing what you do. There is a message out there, and the message, we're trying to get the message out our way. It is very refreshing that you are repackaging the message, because a lot of people will appeal to you. They'll listen to you. What would my future look like if there was a peak oil?
Right.
Do I go shopping still? Can I go shopping like the way they did? Can I buy food? Can I go to a restaurant? All these things. can you describe, let's say a minute, if you were to describe a world of after the impending shortage of oil, it's going to impact everything. So if you see a housewife or somebody, what would their life be like that is different than today?
That's a big, challenging question. I have two frames of mind. I feel like in one way, in one respect, I'm very much influenced by the data and the information that's coming out. That's very serious and disturbing.
Yes.
And so sometimes the lens that I'm looking through is quite gloomy. And I wonder about the average person living their lives not knowing what's coming and seeing tremendous emotional hardship along with economical hardship.
Of course.
But the other side of myself, which is as strong as, kind of the doom and gloom side, feels like this is the most incredible, unprecedented point in time where we can really kind of reconfigure and reestablish how we want to live our lives. There's a lot of unhappy people living in the United States and in other Western countries, and probably all over the world. I'm not going to, keep it to the United States. But, I just sense a lot of hollow people who are looking for more meaning in their lives. And I think this is an opportunity for the people to come together and establish the kind of world that we want to live in. And this is a good opportunity for that. Unfortunately, we have to get more media on board to alert people to the big changes that are about to happen. So I see that partially as my role is to, kind of try to bring people on board in a way that inspires them with hope and not dread, because dread just shuts people down.
It does.
So if I can show people on my show who are doing these incredible, great things, like creating, like a year-round garden in their urban backyard easily, and having a good time with it, I feel like other people will be like, hey, this isn't so bad.
Sure.
If we don't have stuff going on in the grocery stores, at least we know that we can create food in our backyard no matter where we live, whether we live in the city or in the suburbs or in a rural area. And it's not just, my show isn't relegated to urban farmers. It's all kinds of people doing different things in transportation, in other fuel sources, who are just actively pursuing alternatives to the way we live now. And that is so exciting. And it's so fun to see those people doing things. And I know that for every person I show on my show who's doing these things, there's 2,000 people doing their own little things. And so I really want to find those people and show the rest of the world that we can do this.
So I like the message. I like the message because, first of all, you're bringing awareness. And second, you're looking at it as an opportunity for us to reconnect to who we are, in essence. Essentially, we've got 7 billion people. We've gone from 1 billion, 150 years, to 7 billion. Yeah. Some way down the road, in search of economic prosperity, we've also sacrificed many other things.
Yeah.
Perhaps the challenge is that the opportunity of shortage of oil, which is not the only sign. This is one of the signs where I think the ecosystem, or whatever it is giving us, you're repackaging that as an opportunity to live, in fact, a better life.
Yeah.
Connect to yourself. Yeah. And in a macro view of discussions, many people see this, that will bring about a reverse globalization. We're going to have local societies, perhaps more connection to friends and family, to local people.
Hooray.
To have a sense of connection.
Yeah.
So you're educating people. For that, I commend you. That people can connect to your show, and your show is a lot more fun, by the way, than mine, because I sit down and talk, and you do a lot of other stuff. So I'm not going to say, what is your website again?
It is kriscan.com, so KRISCAN.com. You can also go on YouTube and look at the Kris Can Show.
Kris Can Show.
have
You go
everything
there, and I've been on the show, by the way, and it's fun. You know, you convey the message in an entertaining way, but learning. And at the end of the day, you have the good message that this is doesn't have to be bad.
Right.
Yes, it's going to be economic, challenges and economic challenges, but at the same time for us to reconnect. And I think probably, I'm just guessing, that a vast majority of people, especially people with your age and also women, will connect to you much better than to a rigid discussion that I'm having with scientists.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you're looking at the data, but again, I like it the way you describe it and you put it in layman's term.
Right.
So good luck with that.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. And again, one more time, what is your website?
KrisCan.com.
All right, Kris, thank you very much.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Thank you so much.